Okay. Show me.
Hi there guys, welcome back to the Dutch channel. Thank you very much for tuning in for part 2 in my flying tank series. Yeah, and in part 1 we took a look at this frame from Amax Inno. It is their F5 freestyle frame, 5-inch frame. Yeah, so that was part 1, and I'll have a link to the playlist for this series in the description down below. In the second part we're gonna take a look at the motors for this build, so there you go, 4 motors, well, the packaging of the motors, and I actually have 5 of them. They were a package deal and they are actually on offer as we speak. I'm not sure if they'll be on offer when you see this video, but I'll have a link to the 5-pack offer in the description down below as well. It is not an affiliate link, I'm not making any money on this series at all. I just want to build me a flying tank. Yeah. So, and I also bought me 5 motors to have a spare, right? I usually do. So, tin cans, nice packaging, right? I definitely do appreciate me some nice packaging. Now, this packaging won't make my quadcopter fly any better at all, but I do appreciate nice presentations of the product. You're spending hundreds of euros, right? Or dollars or whatever. A nice presentation goes a long way. It makes you happier when unpackaging things. And maybe you can reuse these tin cans. And you probably can't even see the logo, screen printed Amax Inno logo on these boxes. Okay, let's have a look at the motors themselves. And there you have it, 4 motors for my tank, my flying tank build. Now these are the first motors from Amax Inno I've ever used. I'm gonna be trying. I have seen these motors before, or their previous versions, and I always found them to be, well, very good looking. Other than that, I have no experience with these motors at all. But again, the packaging looks great. These motors look even better. Positively beautiful. There is a little bit of script specifications on the bells of the motors. You might be able to see it in the video. I've checked, but it's very minimalistic. So the entire design is very minimalistic. Very nice looking motors, especially together with the windings. Gives them a high-tech look, right? So yeah, very understated. Nice. And in this video I'm not only going to show you these motors, I'm gonna test fly them as well. And flying tank, this is not a light quadcopter. These motors are 2207s 6S. So not the biggest motors. At this point in time I usually use 2208 motors. So I'll definitely put these motors to the test to see if they perform well. And so these are these Unibel motors. They actually look like Unibel motors. Yeah, I think these are Unibel motors. So that's nice. That won't make my quadcopter fly any, but it should make the bells sturdier. And let me see, there's a single screw holding the stator to the bell, or the axle to the bell, and the screw does not stick out the bottom of the motor, so your frame doesn't need an extra hole in the middle of the arm. Also, the mount is very minimalistic, keeping the motors light. These are sub 30 gram motors, and that's probably also true because these are slightly smaller than I usually use these days. These days a lot of RTF quadcopters come with 2207.5 motors or 2305.5 motors, slightly bigger than this. So that'll definitely put this build, these motors, to the test. What more can I tell you? The axle isn't part of the bell, which is, that's, you only see that in budget motors these days. Hollow shaft, and I don't see a skirt to protect the wires against against the screws, right? The mounting screws. And I also don't see or feel a lip to prevent the magnets from sliding out. The magnets look like curved magnets, hard to see, but they kind of look like curved magnets. The tolerances, or the gap between the stator and the magnets, is very small, and you can actually feel that these motors aren't the notchiest of motors I've felt. but they don't run super duper smooth when not powered. That doesn't mean that they are not smooth motors, by the way. That means that, again, the gap is small between the stator and the magnets. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna screw these motors onto the frame and see what that looks like. Ha, cheeky day. Does that look gorgeous or what? Yeah, looks gorgeous on this frame. And I'm happy to say that all of these motors have the same amount of notchiness. It's not that these are not the notchiest motors I've ever felt, but you can definitely feel, yeah, that the gap between the magnets and the stator is small. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put these motors to the test, right? This will not be a light build. This is the heaviest type of the frames of Amax, of the 5-inch frames that is. It's 127 grams, and I'll put a full stack, 30.5 by 30.5 stack in it. On top of that, I'll also use propellers that these are heavy propellers, so this will also make the tune harder, or it should make the tune harder. So the real test here is if this quadcopter flies well on Betaflight stock. The further I need to tweak it, well, the further this setup is from the baseline of Betaflight, if you will. I've got another one of these quadcopters. It was a prototype of this frame, and that one has 2306.5 motors. That one is pretty close. So these motors have their work cut out for them, right? Let's do some flying. We'll do 2 flights. One line of sight flight so you can see and hear what the motors do, and then we'll do some FPV flying as well. Here we go! Alrighty guys, made a flight for the Amax Inno F5 tank quadcopter or flying tank, and I'm out here at a different spot because I'm kinda a little bit shielded from the wind by these trees over here. It's kind of too windy today. You wouldn't be able to hear what I'm saying, but okay, let's try. And there's light posts and tree. Okay, a quick line of sight test flight to see, well, if it hovers and flies and such, and what the motors sound like. Here we go. Wish me luck. Arm motors. And guess what? We are up and away. That's always a good start. It's definitely not noisy. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear the quadcopter, hopefully. It's definitely not noisy. Ooh, there's trees over my head. Let's be a little bit careful on its maiden voyage. Not bad at all. And it flips. Nice. So the stick feel is very nice. It hovers at approximately 45% throttle. Pretty nice. And yes, this is bone stock Betaflight. I'm not even sure what version. I'll put it up on screen for you. But this looks very promising. This is on a CNHL Black Series 1100 6S, in case you are wondering. Very, very nice. Obviously the proof is in the pudding, right? FPV flying, which we will do in a minute. Let's actually try a punch out. Why don't we? Alright, lift off in 3, 2, 1. Pretty nice. That was approximately 80% throttle, I think. Okay, I did hear me some propulse oscillation on the way down. Not all that uncommon, obviously. Other than that, so far it's behaving pretty nicely. Yeah, nice. Okie dokie, successful maiden flight. Let's do some FPV flying as well. Here we go. Alrighty guys, maiden FPV flight for the Amax Inno F5 with the Performante motors 2207. So I'm not only looking for, well, if it flies and if it flies nicely, but this is beta flight, bone stock, and the closer these motors are, or this entire setup rather, to beta flights stock setup, the better it is. So if these motors aren't powerful enough, I'll need to tune the quadcopter, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So in other words, if it flies well on bone stock, the motors perform well. Okay, here we go. Oops. And we are up and away. Let's see. I have not flown at this spot often, by the way. This is, I think, the second time. So I'm having a look where I can and can't fly. As you can hopefully see, the quadcopter flies very nicely. Almost perfect, man. Again, this is bone stock PID tune, right? Or no tuning at all, in other words. Wow, very nice. Yeah, so in my line of sight test flight, I did hear me a little bit of prop wash oscillation falling back in its own prop wash. So far in this FPV flight, I have not. I have applied my own rates, and that's it. That's the only change from bone stock beta flight. Pretty much perfect, man. Wow. Very, very nice. Okay, and this spot. Flying spot. Yeah. Again, I'm flying here because I'm out of the wind here, but otherwise... It is something different for you to look at as well, I guess. Another part of the Netherlands, the flatlands. Yeah, but okay, so this is working out perfectly, man. And that, I guess, means that even though this frame is one of the heavier frames, it's a flying tank, right? These not overly big 2207 MX motors don't have a problem with this setup. Now, there's no action cam on the quadcopter yet either, but this is how I test fly all my quadcopters. Yeah, this simply means that these motors perform well. Which is nice, because they look great, but that doesn't mean all that much if the quadcopter ends up not performing well. Cool stuff, man. Yeah, always when I get back home and I review my flight footage, the flight itself is a little bit boring because I'm narrating things. Sorry about that, but I think you got a good sense of what the quadcopter flies like, what this setup flies like. And yeah, I guess that's it. Short little review of these Amax Performante motors 2207. Gorgeous motors. Not really budget, but they are on sale
but at least at the time I'm shooting this video. Go look it up in the comments section below or in my video description. It is not an affiliate link. I'm not making any money here. Just to, maybe entertain you a little and inform you about, what these motors and this frame is like. And hopefully you can still hear me with those tractors. You can probably see the tractors over there. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you are left with questions, if you have a comment down below. Get you on the next video. Bye bye.